If you were to show Rocket League to a random person on the street and ask them what they think the inspiration is behind the game, I'm guessing pretty much all of them would say that it's soccer or football. Sorry to those of you guys who aren't from America, that's just how I've, said it my entire life. So football for those of you that are in the rest of the world, I'm going to continue calling it soccer. Now, it has been argued that Rocket League is actually more like hockey than soccer. And I can respect that opinion. I can see that definitely. But I wanted to highlight the ways in which Rocket League took moves and plays and aspects directly from soccer and put them into Rocket League. Now, some of these moves were purposefully added to Rocket League when they made it, and others were kind of discovered along the way. All right, guys, before we go any further, I've got to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, which is Keeps. So if you haven't heard of this, Keeps is basically a system and a product to help you prevent hair loss. Keeps actually connects you with a licensed physician who reviews your information and prescribes the best treatment plan for you. And Keeps products are one of the only 2 FDA approved hair loss products. And the crazy thing is, it's actually super affordable. So it doesn't matter if you're already losing hair or you look at your dad and you're going to be losing hair. Prevention is really the key. So click on the link in the description or just go to keeps.com/FLuuMP to receive 50% off your first order. Guys, this is a massive deal. Make sure to check it out. Again, use the link in the description or go to keeps.com/FLuuMP to get 50% off your first order. All right, let's jump back in. Let's get into this list of 10 things that Rocket League took straight from soccer. Okay, first on the list, and this might be a little lesson for those of you who don't know soccer terminology, we have here the volley. Now in soccer, a volley is basically where you kick the ball while it's on its way down before it has time to reach the ground. So the physics in Rocket League are not exactly the same as real life physics like we see in soccer, but regardless, in Rocket League, in the same way that we have it in soccer, this is an amazing little move. Obviously, sometimes you're just hitting the ball on its way down, and I guess technically that's a volley, but the more interesting aspect of a volley shot in Rocket League is when you're in a 1v1 situation and you're setting up sort of a dribble, maybe you're bouncing it down the field, and just the aspect of being unpredictable. Players often don't expect you to hit a volley shot because they expect the power shot to sort of be more off of a bounce. Now, it won't be your first instinct to go for a volley shot, but I definitely recommend giving this a try out every now and then because it can be really, really effective. Okay, number 9 goes to the bicycle hit. Now, if you follow soccer, you know that a bicycle kick, also known as a scissors kick or an overhead kick, is basically where you throw yourself backwards and kick the ball during your backflip. Now in Rocket League, we have basically the same move. A bicycle shot is where you flip your car backwards and hit it with the front of your car. Think of the front of your car as like your foot. And, then you can kind of picture it better. Now, bicycle hits are not exactly something you should be spending all of your time practicing. They're kind of cool when you're in the lower ranks, but otherwise, it's pretty much just a fun little name for something that just happens randomly in Rocket League. It's not really as strategic or impressive as when it's pulled off in soccer. Like, I would compare a bicycle kick in soccer to almost something like a flick in Rocket League. So this brings us to number 8, which is the half volley. Now in soccer, this is where you kick the ball immediately after it has bounced on the ground. In Rocket League, we often call it a bounce shot. So both in soccer and in Rocket League, half volleys create lots of extra power, somewhat unexpected power, and a lot of speed on the ball. And also in both soccer and Rocket League, high-level players are able to accurately hit the ball basically where they want to off of the bounce. So in Rocket League, as in soccer, half volleys can be used to make clears, passes downfield, and even like power shots on net. K-Dop is actually one of my favorite players to watch in this regard. He's so good at hitting accurate, high power shots on net off of the bounce. Okay, number 7 goes to the mind game. Now, I'm not sure if soccer players use this term. I'm guessing that they would probably just call this a fake. But Rocket League, with its emphasis on high-speed play and often high-risk moves, means that a fake can be incredibly effective. Like if you fake someone, say in soccer or even basketball, it often means that you make them a bit out of position. But in Rocket League, a fake often sends your opponent completely out of the play, leaving a wide open goal. Now, the idea is basically the same though. You're feinting your opponent into thinking that you're going one way and, doing something that in fact you aren't doing. And then you get to make them look like a complete fool, which is always fun. So number 6 goes to the bar down shot or the crossbar shot. So the idea is pretty simple. In soccer, you can, with some level of accuracy, depending on how good you are, kick the ball off of the crossbar into the goal intentionally. And the same is true in Rocket League, mainly because the goal is set up the same in soccer as it is in Rocket League. And it's a bit more important, I would say, to be able to hit high shots on target. Some of the best players can, with some level of consistency, hit bar down shots when needed. But in Rocket League, really the whole point is just that you're hitting high shots. Now, in Rocket League, as in soccer, it's often not so much the act of the ball bouncing off the crossbar that messes people up. It's really more just the fact that you've hit such a high shot and you've sort of had that small margin of error, and you've put it basically as high and as far away from the defender as you possibly could on your shot. All right, number 5 goes to the infield pass, or as it's often called in soccer, the cross. Now this is a super valuable move and a type of pass in soccer that's often used. It's interesting how long it took for Rocket League players and really the Rocket League meta to understand the value of infield passing. It wasn't until, I don't know, I feel like season 4 of RLCS and onward, maybe even later, that teams really started focusing on infield passing plays. Like, it was definitely there, but it wasn't the primary way to score the way that it is now in Rocket League. Now in soccer, a cross is a bit more specific in that you're throwing the ball out in front of the goal to your teammate, which can happen in Rocket League, but Rocket League passes across the field happen everywhere, as they do in soccer as well. So it's just that a cross is a more specific shot, whereas an infield pass is, something that happens all the time in both sports. And when I think of infield passing, I usually think of teams like Dignitas, way back when, in their sort of crazy dynasty era with K-Dop and Turbo and Violent Panda. That team did more infield passing than almost any team in RLCS history. So I will have to say, if you're like in the middle ranks or even higher ranks, it's really worth working on getting better at hitting infield passes. Like, at least try to have this in your mind the next time you're playing with your friends. There's nothing better than calling out that you're ready for an infield pass and actually having your teammate listen and make that happen and get the ball to you. And it's obviously super effective. All right, number 4 goes to the back pass. And this is also a move taken straight from soccer, and its purpose is essentially the same. You're alleviating some of the pressure that the defense may have on you, and you're trying to throw them off a bit by sort of backing off and hitting the ball back down your field, just as kind of unexpected. Now in Rocket League, it's a bit different because a solo play from the backfield is much more possible than in soccer. So if I roll the ball back to you in soccer and you're at midfield, you're probably just gonna have to set up another pass play. But in Rocket League, if I roll the ball to you and you're pretty much all the way in the backfield and you have 100 boost, you can easily set up like a double touch or a flip reset or whatever, move of choice you have. Back passes are really great because they simultaneously throw off the defense while giving your teammate a chance to set up a really nice solo goal or even a passing play. Like, I'm just saying, I think in Rocket League, there's actually more options with the back pass than in soccer. Okay, number 3 goes to the 50-50. Now, I think there's definitely more of this in Rocket League than in soccer, but it still happens in soccer where 2 players will kick the ball at the same time, and the player with the better angle or better momentum will cause the ball to sort of squirt out past their opponent. So in Rocket League, because the ball is so much bigger and the players are so much smaller, 50-50s are more defined, I would say, and more advanced and almost like a more useful skill than they are in soccer, because it's just so much more rare in soccer. In Rocket League, there is sort of a more predictive element having to do with blocking and positioning skills needed when challenging the ball at the same time as your opponent. So I would actually say that 50-50s are more important in Rocket League than they are in soccer, but they're definitely present in both. Number 2 goes to this overall idea of dribbling. And personally, this is one of my favorite things that's been adapted straight from soccer. So in soccer, I'm sure there are levels of dribbling that I will personally never comprehend, mainly because I've played very little soccer in my life. But the main things that I see that have been adapted from soccer are things like fakes, we mentioned earlier, the idea of changing the ball's direction really quickly to throw off your opponent, and then some of the things like flicking and setting up power shots and volleys. I don't know, I just love how Rocket League has its own little versions of what we see in soccer, and dribbling is really one of the best examples. Rocket League is so similar in dribbling, but yet there's these little things that are different and that are unique. All right, guys, I'm gonna throw you a curveball. By the way, curve is not something Rocket League has taken from soccer. Just saying. Anyways, I'm gonna look at something that has recently happened actually in soccer that I believe came straight from Rocket League. So we're sort of working in the opposite direction for this one, and it's actually the idea of the pinch goal. So this is something that I think originated in Rocket League and has now been taken into soccer. So this clip was trending all over Twitter. Basically, this girl like sort of fell on the ball in front of the net and actually pinched the ball with her body into the goal. Now, I've never seen this happen in soccer. Maybe I'm wrong about this and you guys can let me know like when this has happened outside of this, but this is not something I see people intentionally doing in soccer, and it's not really something I've seen people do with their feet. Like, how would you be able to put any serious power on the ball if you tried to pinch it on like a kick into the ground? I mean, I guess you can do it, but you'd be better off probably just kicking it. So of course I made a nice little video comparing the ground pinch from Pulse Fire and this shot that we see from this girl in soccer. It's pretty beautiful. All right, guys, I'd love to hear from you. What are some things that you see in Rocket League that you think came straight from soccer that I maybe missed in this video, or even things that came from other sports? Again, don't forget to subscribe like I mentioned earlier, and we're gonna try to get 10,000 subscribers from this video alone today. So go hit the subscribe button, and I hope you guys enjoyed this one. We'll see you next time. Peace out.